This video is sponsored by not knowing when to say no. Ahoy, me bonny mates! It's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about books. So it is February, and I am dressed like a pirate, and there is a reason that I am dressed like a pirate in February. We'll get to that in just a minute. But the first thing you need to know is that I am the world's most ineffective overachiever, and so I am participating in 3 readathons in February. Got a lot going on. I am participating in the BookTube Games, vaLITines, and Blackathon. So, yeah. That's a lot. I will have all of the information and the hosts and everything linked in my description box, but I am going to run through things real fast. The BookTube Games is being run by Mayana over at Little Wolf Reads. It is going from February 1st until March 1st. Everyone who's participating in the games are separated into 5 teams. You have Ketterdam, Camp Half-Blood, Hogwarts, Derry, and Neverland. I'll give you a running guess onto which one I am on. Yeah. I had to turn the books around because I didn't want to be repping the wrong team because I am a little competitive and I'm going to do everything I can to make my team win. It'll be back to normal next time you see me, but for now, I was feeling piratey. Got my Killian Jones up there, the superior, the best, the most amazing version of Captain Hook. The only version of Captain Hook that we accept in this household. You're going to try and read as many books as you can, and whichever team has the most average pages per person at the end of the games is the team that will have won. It's gonna be Neverland, cause I'm there and I read a lot. We'll see if I can pull off another 15 book month. Probably not gonna happen, but I can try. There are 4 challenges, 1 for each week in February. The first challenge I am not participating in because that is to read a group book. Each team has a group book that they're going to be reading. I wasn't interested in any of the group books that I hadn't already read. The next challenge is to read in a place that isn't normally acceptable to read, so like read in church, or I don't know, maybe read while you're driving if you listen to audiobooks. I feel like that is actually acceptable though, so I have read while driving at stoplights. Like not driving, but at stoplights while my car is running. Challenge number 3 is to host your own 24-hour readathon. So just like grab some books, sit by yourself, and read for 24 hours. I am planning on doing that at some point this month. And the 4th challenge is there's going to be a scavenger hunt video posted by the hosts for each team, and you have to go to your team's video and find like an emoji or something. I'm not entirely sure. It's written down somewhere. I can read it when the time comes. That's how if it's written down and I don't need to remember it, I don't try to remember it. Why would I do that? The next 2 readathons that I am participating in are going from February 1st until the 28th. Blackathon is being hosted by Jessie over at Bowties and Books, and also Francina Simone and Lauren from the novel Lush. I will have their information linked down below. It's basically just a readathon where we are focusing on Black characters and Black authors, as you will see from the prompts that I will be listing as I go through my TBR. vaLITines is being put on by Chapter Kate. She just decided she wanted to do the entire month of February dedicated to a love of a reading, and so she has different book and like action prompts that you can do. For vaLITines, there are also going to be Instagram challenges and Twitter sprints. I am involved in both of those, so make sure that you are following the vaLITines Instagram and Twitter. I will have all of that linked down below with the announcement video for vaLITines and all of the hosts' information. Now it is time to get into the specific books that I am reading in February. We're taking the bracelet off. The bracelet is going off because the jingling was driving me nuts. Now it is time to get into the specific books that I will be reading in February. I did put one condition on my reading this February, and that was that outside of the 2 books that I am reading for specific projects, I am only going to be reading books that are by Black authors or by people of color. Specifically, I'm trying to focus on Black authors, but I did give myself that kind of loophole should I be looking for an audiobook and not be able to find any that I'm interested in that are by a Black author. Sadly, most of what's available on my library app in general is just by white people. If you don't live in the US, you might not know that February is Black History Month, so that is why I'm doing the specific focus on Black authors this month. I want to start evening the balance between the number of white authors I read versus POC authors. I'm going to be going by the vaLITines bingo board, and then I will be mentioning what prompts on Blackathon that also hit. All but 2 of these books so far hit the prompt, Hear Us, which is to read a book by a Black author. So the first prompt in the column that I chose is Beautiful on the Shelf, and that is to read a book with a beautiful cover. And for that, I chose The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is also the group book for Blackathon, and it's a gorgeous... Sorry, I got distracted by the stellar graphic design on this book. Look at this, look at this. Look at the colors, look at this woman, look at how they have the words in there with the bird and the colors. This is about Xiomara, and she is an Afro-Latina teen that has just recently discovered slam poetry. The only problem is her mother, who is very religious, disapproves of this slam poetry. So it's about Xiomara trying to navigate this passion that she's found while also navigating the fact that it is causing friction with her family. Also, it is told in verse, which is really intriguing to me, especially since I've heard the audiobook is stellar, so I will be listening to this through script. I'm really excited because I've heard that Elizabeth Acevedo also narrates this book, and I really liked her narration for Pride by E.B. Zaboy, so I've been waiting so long to read this book, and it's perfect. The next prompt in that column is Black History Month, which is just to read a book by a Black author. Clearly, a lot of these books count, but I did want to have one specific book that was assigned to that prompt, and that book is going to be The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. This also fulfills a prompt for Blackathon, which is Feel the Love, which is to read a romance with a Black couple or a Black main character and then a person of color as the love interest. The love interest in this one is Carlos from The Wedding Date, which I really enjoyed. And so I've heard really great things about this one. From what I've heard, it starts out with her boyfriend proposing to her on the Jumbotron at a baseball game after they've only been dating for a few months. Yikes. But this situation happens, and Carlos comes in and rescues her from that situation, like brushes her away from the camera crew and all of that, and then romance ensues. So I really did enjoy The Wedding Date. I gave it 4 stars, and so I'm really excited to see what she does with the proposal because I've heard this is even better. I also only have 14 days to read it, but that's okay. Everything's fine. The next prompt in the column is By Any Other Name, which is to read a banned book. I do not have a physical copy of this book because it is still coming in from my library, but I will be listening to Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred D. Taylor. This is a book that I'm pretty sure I read when I was younger, but I don't remember much. I don't remember reading it. I don't remember the story. So I have been meaning to reread it. It is also a children's classic that has been banned, so I figured this was the perfect time for me to read this book. The next one in the column is More to Love, which is to read a book that is over 400 pages. For that, I will be reading The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is an adult sci-fi dystopian, and I'm into sci-fi right now, so I want to keep that streak going because I've been reading some really good sci-fis and really enjoying them, and I'm really just happy to be back into sci-fi, guys. Like, straight up sci-fi. This is about Essen. She comes home to find that her husband has murdered their son and kidnapped their daughter and then run off. And they are kind of in the middle of their empire collapsing, and so she's having to search for her daughter while all this political turmoil is going on. And also, I believe there's like 5 seasons, and there's a whole, they're in the middle of the upheaval between one season and another. It sounds complicated, and like there's going to be a lot of thought involved, but I do really like, it sounds like something that I'm going to like. It's about a mom trying to rescue her daughter and deal with her world falling apart literally around her. And so, yes, it sounds interesting. The final prompt in this particular column, because I'm doing 2 of them, because again, overachiever. The final prompt in this particular column is Sharing is Caring, and that is to read a book for another readathon. For that, I am going to be reading Fresh Water by Akweke Emezi. This also fulfills a prompt for Blackathon, and that is More Than a Color, which is to read an intersectional book with a Black main character. This is about Ada, and she is born in Nigeria, and she immigrates to America, and through that process, she ends up struggling with what's known as dissociative identity disorder. DID used to be known, or what people would say was schizophrenia a very long time ago, but that's not what it is. Those are 2 different things. Jesse over at Bowties and Books is reading this for the very same prompt, and what they had to say about it really made me want to pick it up. I've also been hearing a lot about it, so I figured this was the perfect time to pick it up. We are going to continue on with the rest of the Blackathon prompts that I am doing, and then I will swing back around and get to my final vaLITines picks. The final 2 prompts for Blackathon are Feel the Beat, which is to listen to 4 spoken word poems that Jessie has linked in the description of the Blackathon announcement video. Again, that is linked down below. And then to discuss on social media what the poem meant to you and why that matters. And then there's also the Wakanda Forever prompt, which is right up my alley, which is to read a graphic novel with a Black main character. It is difficult to find graphic novels that have both Black main characters and Black writers. I was finding a lot of Black main characters who are written by white people, and then white characters who are written by Black writers, and I was just like, but I need both. I want both. But I did manage to find 2 Black Panther graphic novels. The first one is A Nation Under Our Feet is by Ta-Nehisi Coates, who has been making waves, from what I hear, in the comic book industry over at Marvel with T'Challa and all his friends. So I'm really excited to actually like read some dedicated Black Panther stuff. The last stuff that I read that really focused on him was actually X-Men. There was a whole storyline with him and Storm that, from what I heard, was a mess in the end. I'm also going to be reading Black Panther, Long Live the King by Nnedi Okorafor, who I really want to read her trilogy, her novella trilogy, Binti. I don't really look up what comic books are about. I just look at the titles and say, hey, I should read that, and so I do. So I have 2 reading projects that I am undergoing this year. One of them is to read all of the Shadowhunters novels, 1 a month until the end of the year, until I've gotten to all of the ones that have been published, besides Chain of Gold, which is a whole different story. In January, I was supposed to have read Clockwork Angel. Hopefully I finished it. And so in February, the book that I'm going to be reading is Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This is the 2nd book in the Infernal Devices series. This might be my favorite Shadowhunters series. Possibly. I'm not entirely sure, because I know it's not my favorite Shadowhunters romance, but I also, like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on there. This is going to be for the prompt 5 stars to read a book that someone you know, friend, foe, anyone that you know that is in your life in some way has rated 5 stars. 2 of my favorite booktubers have rated this 5 stars. So I'm going with that one. It's gonna count, okay? It didn't specify how involved in my life they had to be, but they are in my life, they rated it 5 stars, and so I need to read it. And the final vaLITines prompt that I am going to be doing is Happily Ever After, which is to read a retelling, and for that I chose The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. This is the final book in the Percy Jackson series, and also the February book for Demigods Anonymous, which is a read-along that I am hosting with Min Kobayashi and Kinsey Lee T. We are discussing 1 book a month, and this is February's book. I love this book so much. It is my favorite one in the series. As is usually the last book. Usually the last book is my favorite one in this. This is my 2nd favorite series to ever have existed. I love these characters so much. I just love everything about them so much. If you didn't know, Percy Jackson starts out as a 12-year-old boy who finds out that his father is a Greek god, and just his life is terrible from there. There are monsters and quests and friends dying and angst and romance, and yes, it is perfect. It is a middle grade series, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I found it at the exact right moment that I needed it in my life. It was amazing. And it's also a retelling of Greek mythology, so yeah, it counts. Because I'm saying it counts. And I am the premier authority on Percy Jackson. Sure. There we go. Pose. Pose. Those are all the books that I am going to be attempting to read in February. Is it less? I think it's less physical books. I think it's less physical books than I was trying to read in January. I mean, possibly. I don't know. You'll have to see. But oops. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button. I make videos 2 to 3 times a week about books and writing, and I would love to see your lovely face here on a regular basis. If you're interested in more from me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are both at the word nerd with a 3 instead of the E. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!